What's good, budget buds? If you didn't notice, I'm dressed up pretty nice. I went to a job interview today for a sales rep job. Um, YouTube ain't cutting it. So I had to go get a job so I can afford to give away seeds. So this is going to be part 8 in our seed to harvest series. Let's just get into the video. Sorry fam, I did all the maintenance and stuff without filming. Forgot completely. So we watered her in, watered her in, watered her in. We dressed both of these with a little bit of 444 as they're getting around the day 30 mark. That's whenever the nutrients usually run out. I fed her with some cow mag and humic acid. So that would be a 204 is what I fed her with essentially. Let's see if I can get a decent shot. Trichome production is really starting to kick in, but I have to deal with these burnt leaf tips. You see these burnt leaf tips right there? I think I've overfed her just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. So, which makes sense. I was trying to really make up for the fact that she's in a really tiny pot, like a 3-gallon maybe, maybe 2.5, and she's taking up most of the 2x4. So I probably should have went with a larger pot, and I would have not burnt these as much. I think most organic grows should be going in 5 gallons or bigger, but this is what I had at the time, was a 3-gallon. Super easy to get, and it's more budget. You're using less soil. I usually get much better results with the smaller plants in this container. If you looked at the last seed to harvest, you see the autos grow much better when they're smaller and in a small container. If you're going to grow them this big, you need a bigger container. So, highly suggest, if you want to fill a 2x4, 5 gallons or more. 7 is even better. But 3, you'll be pushing it. On a 3, you'll have to pretty much be close to perfect. It's going to be annoying getting rid of all those burnt leaves, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We just be growing. We just be growing. I don't think this is a keeper genetic. I don't think it's good enough to keep, so I'm probably not going to breed with this one. This in-house seeds, in-house genetics, IHG, the sugarcane, I might. The sugarcane is looking like it's respectable enough for me to think about crossing. I'm just worried about the hermaphroditic traits that I've heard are in the genetic lineage. I'll have to definitely stress test it maybe. I'll pick a cultivar that's much more sturdy, robust, and less likely to harm. But this is going to be the first of many in the series. This is the mimosa. So you get to see what it will look like if you were to grow it. This is a 2x4, and that is a 2.5 gallon pot or 2-gallon pot. Again, I'm pushing these plants to the limit. You'll see that she's yellower than most plants would be at this stage. I prefer leaning light on nitrogen. When you lean light on nitrogen, the plant produces less leaves and more buds, but also you get less yield overall, so it's a give and take. If you're willing to lose out on some yield but make your trim much easier, lower nitrogen. If you want your cannabis to be higher concentration in THC and other cannabinoids, lower the nitrogen and the phosphorus. The only nutrient you really got to keep throughout flower is potassium and a little bit of nitrogen. Phosphorus is often front loaded, and it doesn't uptake as much phosphorus as it gets into flower anyways. So if you're gonna feed phosphorus, I would front load that in the very beginning, get them like overfed on phosphorus, and then just wean off and like not even feed it towards the end. That would be ideal, at least. I've got a few leaves here and there dying off, showing me signs of deficiencies. I should probably trim off a few of these. lower nodes that aren't going to make it up anywhere. So doing a light defoliation and removing all these little tiny little bud sites aren't going to make it. Here's another one. Tiny little guy was not going to make it. Alright. So, I think that's a pretty good video for you guys. I did a little touch up on the bottom. Lollipopped it, made sure everything on the bottom is clean. We'll continue to do that throughout flower to make sure she doesn't use up all her nutrients on the lower stuff. And she can focus on all the upper growth. You'll see her kind of green out probably a little bit in the next couple videos as I've been feeding a little bit more nitrogen. But alright, deuce homies, I'll see you next time on Budget Bud. Good morning, Budget fam. We got our Budget Buds going. They're just really trying to bulk up in the past couple days. Not too much is happening. They're just bulking. A little burnt here and there, but not too worried about it. There we are. But yeah, so this is a mystery seed from Speedruns. The speed at which she's growing has really slowed down. I think she's getting a little bit burnt from all the extra nutrients, but I ain't too mad about it. I'm gonna turn the lights back to 80%, try to blast her up a little bit more. Though the plants on the bottom looking good. Other than the, this looks like a little bit of calcium maybe. Needs calcium. Some lower leaves are showing signs of deficiency of some sort. Looks like calcium rust spots, but I'm not entirely sure. I know that she's definitely hungry because she's in way too small of a pot. But we'll transplant her probably later today or tomorrow. We'll figure it out. She's not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to get these out. That's the sugarcane. That's the landrace seeds. Here's an auto. Here's a photo. And here's a landrace. Photo, landrace, autoflower. Alright, friends. So here's my mimosa. This is a cross I made myself with my keeper pheno of a mimosa plant. She likes to grow really, really wide, really nice, and takes training well. Whenever you train her out sideways, all her side branches become really tall and long, and they end up becoming pretty good nodes themselves. So definitely a good producer of lots of buds. All the bud sites tend to be on the smaller side, but there's a lot more of them. She stacks pretty well if you were to let her stack though. So some of these branches will be really, really big coated frosty little guys. So far everything's looking pretty good. I don't know if there's too much to complain about or nothing really. So If you guys wanted to get some of these seeds, though, I will be offering these to everybody on my Patreon for pretty cheap. I don't know, like 20, 30 bucks, depending on the size of the pack you want. But I'll be offering these seeds for cheaper than you can find other seeds online, obviously. Because I'm trying to save you money on genetics. Let's go, bunch of buds. This is what we're working for. This is what we were working for. What's good, bunch of buds? We got this sad-looking landrace seed here. Just struggling with lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. I got to get her a new container. She's eating out everything from there. This is the sugarcane. They're the same age. I just put her in a much better environment with way more nutrients, so you can see the difference. Small pot with not enough nutrients. Larger pot full of nutrients. So she's looking pretty good for her age, for the number of days she's been in development. I'm seeing some slight signs of deficiencies on the bottom of the pot. Not too much. Let's see if she is thirsty or not. Yeah, she's a bit thirsty. But other than that, the speedrun seeds is looking pretty good. Trichome development's okay. I wouldn't say it's best. It's okay. Got some burnt tips here and there. Not the best. But as far as size goes, these are decent nugs. Decent. The lower nugs, the non-top nugs, are growing really well comparatively. So, got a bunch of little nugs and some big guys. She looks okay. Not the best looking, but not the worst looking. Somewhere right in the middle. Boop. Boop. 6284. Yeah. Not too much changed here. Oh yeah, I trained her out. All I did was take the top and leaned her out to the side. That's all I did. Let's look at this plant over here. Let's look at the mimosa cross I made. She's definitely looking a little bit light green, not too much, but I always prefer to grow like this. I prefer to grow under for nitrogen and under for phosphorus. It tends to cause the buds to swell a little bit more, grow less leaves, and overall it's better quality if you lower nitrogen and phosphorus. It's looking pretty good so far. I think I'll water her for the day. I don't have to do much training. She's already been trained out. Like, everything is pretty much on point for the canopy size. Everything looks great. Let's bring her down. Let's let you see. Yeah. So far she's looking good. Beautifully lollipopped. The canopy is looking in a good way. The temps are 84.3 with a 69% humidity, which is a bit high. It is a little bit high. Ain't preferable, but it's whatever. I'll get you a zoom in on the tops of the nugs so you can see some nug action. Some of the buds that are on the outside corners are a little bit darker green compared to, like, let's say the center nugs, where they're getting a lot more light. So anywhere that's shaded out, you'll see it's dark green. Anywhere where they're full light intensity, you'll see it's yellowing out. I like to push my plants, and I like them to yellow out, so hopefully you guys can hear that. I like my plants yellow. Maybe you guys could tell me I need some more nitrogen and whatnot, but I won't. I won't feed it very much more nitrogen. I'm not in it for the yield. I'm in it for the cannabinoid production, and high levels of nitrogen will reduce your THC concentrations, and that's not me. I want the most possible THC, the most possible trichomes. Alrighty, that's it for today on Budget Buds. I'm gonna go water these, and we'll call it a day. Alright, I'm gonna keep this one short. She's looking pretty ready. We're looking at some tiny bits of leaf curling. The The tips of the leaves are curling a little bit. I'm getting a little bit newt burnt possibly. But she's towards the end. I don't know if I would flush her again. I'm just going to let her just chill. Probably water a little bit here and there. Just let her finish on out. The mystery bean from Speedrun Seeds was very fast. And I would say the production wise, this is definitely higher than the other two autos. So this is the Sugarcane in-house genetics. I've been training her out a little bit. I take the top, which is the apical meristem. Look at all those. I bring her out real far. And since she's in this healthy state, when I bend her, she kind of like is malleable. Really nice and malleable. Like any direction I put her in, she'll stay in that direction, which is nice. Let's get this leaf tuck under there. So these big fan leaves, you guys see those? Oftentimes you want to get those down and around. And by doing that, you expose all these little bud sites. Ta-da. So, you gotta keep doing a little bit more of that for training purposes. This is the land race. I'm not too interested in growing her out too much more. This is from A Seeds. I'm sure the effects are super great, but she's hungry for calcium really badly. She's got some weird looking leaves and deformities. I am growing in like a very small container, so like it makes sense. I'll transplant her probably later today for you guys. Like I said I would, but I haven't done it. I keep saying it. I've made the soil, I just don't think the soil's ready, so I either have to put her in soil that's not ready or wait until she's sicker. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Oh yeah, the bottom of the plant says I need some on the edges. That's potassium. The green is nitrogen, and the little spottiness is magnesium. So it looks like I kind of need all the nutrients for this plant. She's hungry in general, just all of it. I'll have to give her like some type of feeding. We'll figure it out. But there's a lot of nugs here. There's too many nugs to even count. Just nugs. Alright. This grow was mainly for yield, more so than it was for quality. I kind of pushed her a little bit hard with the nitrogen early on. If you guys looked at the earlier videos, you'll see this plant was heavily like saturated with nitrogen. It was almost toxicity level. Like the leaves were turning dark green, and that's why there was such explosive growth. But I weaned back on the nitrogen, and it might have been a wee bit much what I cut back, but I ain't worried about it. I normally do that so that I could get these leaves to die off, to get cannibalized, and when I do the trimming, it ends up being much easier, so that I won't have to trim as much. So I kind of do like whenever I make it cannibalize itself, all these leaves at the bottom will start eating itself, and I can just pick at them like now and then to get them. But yeah, so far so good. Let's do a quick little one on the big girl. We'll call it a day. All these updates are pretty boring because I'm not doing much. I'm running out of stuff to do. She looks thirsty actually today, so I'm going to go ahead and chunk her up with some water. Alrighty, I'm going to give her some water, probably put some CalMag in it. One sec. Got my CalMag in the Sunny D bottle. Just going to feed her roots. Maybe you can see it a little bit like that. bunch of buds. This is the leftover soil from the last 2 plants I emptied out. Bop, bop. See those empty containers? That's the soil that was in there. We're going to amend with some 626 and call it a day. And then we'll throw the landrace in here. So, I'm amending for the landrace right now. Yeah, that stuff stinks. I got roughly, what is that? 3 tablespoons in there, roughly. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mix that all up and then call it a day. Alright, and for the first time ever, I'm gonna try to use a cover crop. I'm gonna use some lettuce cover crop. This lettuce will probably consume a lot of the nitrogen in there, but I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that on top. Grab another one and sprinkle it on top. Roughly like, I don't know, like 30 seeds maybe. 30 or so lettuce seeds. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Yeah, we'll just sprinkle some on top. No guarantees that it grows or anything, but we'll have some lettuce on top of our soil at some point maybe. We'll see. Alright, I'll go grab the plant and we'll transplant her. Be right back. Alrighty, I do this a bit too often. I let them get a little bit root bound. Let them get a little bit too messed up in there. Yeah. It looks a little anaerobic down there too. Yep, there's no drainage holes in here, so really gotta either fix that or work on that. It ain't the best environment for the roots is what I'm saying. Some of the upper roots are fine and healthy, but some of the lower roots are starting to get unhealthy from being cooped up in there. So we'll do a transplant of this little guy. One quick little thing I just noticed, the pot doesn't have any drainage holes, so at some point I'm going to have to drill some in there. Not too worried about it right now, but definitely going to be a problem in the future possibly. Alright, deuce deuce, we're out. Woo. Alright, it was at this moment that I noticed that I ran out of room in this tent. When I transplanted her, I forgot how big the pot was. So, we've got quite a bit of plant there, and a lot of plant there. Don't really give you this view much, but we gotta get rid of her soon. This girl's got to go. I'm still seeing white pistils, and trichomes aren't all there yet. I fucking let some flies in, and now I'm regretting it. I'm having a terrible time with the fly. Yeah, so that's the problem with growing in a garage. Alrighty, we got trouble in paradise right now. The temps and the humidity are way too high. Temps in here, is that showing? 93 and 53. I had humidity pockets in here, and I think I saw a leaf. I wish I kept it. It was a leaf that has powdery mildew. There it is. Powdery mildew. So I checked the rest of the plant. I don't see any signs of it anywhere else, except for this leaf right here. You see those? And that leaf. So now that I've seen that I have powdery mildew, it is a sign that I can't run this tent in the summer. We had around 5 days in a row where it rained, and these next 5 days it dried up, but the temps have been over 80, which was a perfect cocktail for powdery mildew to form. My best option is either I will remove all the nugs that have any signs of powdery mildew, like that entire nug and that leaf, for sure. So these guys gotta go. I have to remove them. And after that, we're gonna bring this whole tent into the house. We're gonna find a little spot for it. This was nice whenever it was just warming up and the house was still too cold. But now that we've gotten too hot outside, powdery mildew is a problem. This plant had to get thinned out because this little section right here, I found what seemed to be powdery mildew, and we don't want to fuck with that. We don't even want the chance of powdery mildew, so got rid of those right off the bat. But she's looking pretty good overall. A bit big, but it's fine. We'll be pushing the limits of this indoor organic system. We'll be push it to the limit. Alright, I'll see you guys next time on some budget, but